I'm, oh, are we on?
Yes, at least I hope.
Helen St. Helen.
Yes,
What a cool name.
thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. A little stressed because you know, I have Yanni that we're in Toronto now selling, and at the same time, I think I told you, or maybe you don't know. After I finished that, I did Death of a Salesman on stage at the Colony. And then we shot three live performances with four and five cameras.
Oh, wow.
And we're now trying to, you know, put it out there on VOD for the world to see. And we feel pretty good about the work we did. So we'll see what happens. But
That's
it's a lot
good.
of work.
It sounds like you're very busy.
Yeah. How
How are
about
things?
yourself?
Not too bad. I'm in school right now. I'm going for my master's degree. So,
And what?
yeah, in journalism and communication.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got my bachelor's from Ohio State in psychology. So,
Good. Where are you going to graduate school? USC?
no, I am going to Tiffin University here in Ohio.
Uh-huh. So you're in Ohio.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
So
So,
how's your podcast? How many people do you reach?
um, I reach quite a few from all over and everything. So, it's in its infancy. I just
Oh,
recently started it a few months ago. So,
oh, good. Well, congratulations.
thank you. So, yeah, it's a good practice for journalism and communication.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did one yesterday or the day before with a guy in Philly, and then I did Chas Bob and Terry's a
Oh,
couple of weeks ago. And I've got a couple of different ones I'm doing. But the
oh.
first time I'm doing one with a woman, you know? So should be
Cool.
interesting.
Yeah, something different.
Uh-huh.
So, how did you know you wanted to go into acting? What inspired you?
Interesting question. I just I just talked about this to someone. I was 8, couldn't have been more than 9 years old, living in Paterson, New Jersey, and was in my living room with my dad. He was in his recliner, and I was sitting right next to him on the floor. And in front of us was a 19-inch Emerson black and white TV. It was maybe 1957 or whatever. And we were watching Playhouse 90, and it was a production of Death of a Salesman with Lee J. Cobb.
Ah,
I was absolutely mesmerized. I was glued to the screen. I mean, I didn't know from anything, at 8, 9 years old, not like the kids today. But and I was kind of mesmerized. And then along the way, my brother reminds me of after school, we used to watch The Lone Ranger. And I
ah,
would look at the TV and I said, George, that's what I want to do. So I was the Lone Ranger and he was Tonto. But we're finally kicked in that, I had just done my first play in college. I did played Lenny in Of Mice and Men, and came back. I went to school in Iowa, and I came back to New York, and I went to see Midnight Cowboy, and I had seen Dustin Hoffman do The Graduate 2 years before that, and when I saw Midnight Cowboy, I was like, I couldn't leave the theater. I was just looking up at the screen and saying, "That's what I want to do." And that's what I did. That's what I've been doing since then. We're trying to anyway.
ah. So what I know you said were trying to get Here's Yanni and everything, doing some promoting for that and everything. How's it going?
Yeah, good. It's we've gotten fabulous reviews. We've won about 4 or 5 film festivals like Fort Lauderdale and Torino and Opera, and not Venice or Cannes or TIFF, you know, but second tier. And we've won Best Picture and Best Actor and Best Actress awards. And the reaction and the reviews are tremendous. So, it's kind of an old-fashioned picture.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's an old-fashioned love. It's a love story between a husband and wife. Uh, and she happens to be a caretaker because he has dementia, but in his dementia, he imagines himself to be Johnny Carson. So it's humorous and it's touching and it's happy and it's sad. And I'm very proud of it.
that's wonderful.
Uh,
Yeah. Did you have to do anything to prepare to play that character, Yanni?
Well, I did a lot of research. Before we did the feature 5 years ago, I did the short version with Christina Iliopoulos, who was the writer director, and it was a true story about her father. So I had been doing research for the last 5 years before I got in front of to do the feature, and she was a wealth of knowledge for me. But I did a lot of research, and and the way that I usually prepare is I do my research. I do I exhaust all the possibilities. I put them in a big frying pan, like the Italians call it a ciabatta. I throw a little garlic, a little oil, some salt, pepper, some prosciutto, and then I mix it all up, right? So I equate that to my research, and I've spoken to friends of mine who wife or husband had dementia, and then I tie it up in a big knot and I throw it out the window. And then I show up and I completely 1000% rely on my instinct.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping to see that. It hasn't come to Ohio yet. Do you know when it might be open nationwide?
We're trying to work that out now. Did we send you the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't, we're not sending screeners out because we're trying to make hopefully get into a bidding war, but wait to get distribution from someone, and then we'll have a date when it'll be released.
Okay. Um,
You'll probably end up seeing it on streaming, possibly because nobody goes to the movies anymore. And how many movies can they put it out as an independent picture? And unless it catches fire.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it seems like everything anymore immediately goes to streaming.
All right.
Um, so I was watching a few of your interviews, and you mentioned, I know in one of them, the loudest voice, and Roger Stone is something else. So, what was it like to play Roger Stone?
Well, ironically enough, I had dinner with Roger Stone in Fort Lauderdale,
Oh, okay.
and it turned out that his mother is Sicilian, which I had no idea. I thought he was a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, white collar kind of politician. I say so kindly. It was a gas because he was, I mean, I found him to be a lot of fun. Now politically, I don't really talk about politics because it seems to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
Um, But he was, I liked him. I thought I didn't know whether I liked him, but I ended up liking him. He was a great storyteller. He had great stories. And afterwards, we went and smoked a cigar. So he was cool. So how did I enjoy playing it? Yeah, I enjoyed playing because I had also played, right before I played Roger Stone, I played Giorgio Armani in a much bigger role. And I enjoyed playing that because I admire his fashion. Um, and I also, when I was 22, after I graduated from college and came to New York for a year, I was the associate fashion editor of Gentleman's Quarterly. So, but ultimately, it was a huge disappointment because they had to cut. I think I was in two or three episodes. They had to cut it all out,
Um,
not because of my performance. No.
that's good.
Uh,
Um, yeah, so we mentioned a few characters, but is there any particular character that you've connected with the most?
um, Actually, the last character, Yanni, that I just played, I really enjoyed playing for a couple of different reasons. One is that it was something that was much closer to me. I wasn't playing. I mean, for a while there, my bread and butter was playing gangsters, bad guys. And although I can do that, I've done it successfully. I've played a couple of famous gangsters, but this role was different. It was really different. First of all, it was based on a true character. Not that others haven't, but it was just such a beautiful story and a beautiful love story. And for where I am now in my life, it just happened to be the perfect time. It was. So I really enjoyed that. I played a lot of interesting characters of James Earl Ray, Israeli paratroopers, gay producers, gangsters. But this was really different. It was much closer to who I am, you know? It's a family man brought up in an ethnic background, which I was. And it was sweet. That's how I describe
Oh, well, that's nice. That
it.
is. Um, so what did you learn anything new, especially because and like I said, I took psychology, uh, graduated with my bachelor's in it, but we kind of went over dementia. That was kind of my paper at the end. Um, did you find out anything interesting about it that maybe you didn't realize before?
Dementia?
Yeah, dementia
Well, it
or
affects everybody. It affects everybody really differently, is what it's not just, hey, I forgot what street I live on. It affects people differently. Some people, the way that mine organically happened was Yanni was really a nice guy. He loved his work. There's a stroke of violence, but some people have to be put away because they're very violent and dangerous to their family, whereas others can be home cared for. And there's different forms of Alzheimer's. Dementia is one of them.
yeah.
And
This was
so,
vascular though, wasn't it?
yeah, it's about you not having enough oxygen getting to your brain, which causes the disease.
Yeah,
But Yanni he was not a um, violent guy, violent. It didn't affect him like that. Like I say, there's one scene in it where he gets violent, but just a little bit. And I happen to know some personal friends of mine that I just visited on the Jersey Shore, where I know a guy, and he's in a home now because he's gone. He just doesn't remember who his children are. He's violent, and then the next day, everything is beautiful. So it's really sad. It's really sad to
yeah,
see somebody go through that, and especially for the caretaker. It's
yeah,
heartbreaking.
yeah, it is. I was a caretaker for my mother. Um, and that was hard. She would like jump out of bed at 3 a.m. in the morning and swear we had to be somewhere and everything. It was hard,
Yeah.
especially on my dad.
There was a scene like that in the movie
Oh, okay.
where Yanni gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, Mom, I got to get my books. I got to go to school. And
Oh,
she's like,
wow.
you know, what are you talking about? And then she plays along with it and says, okay, well, let's go inside and get the books. And he goes, okay. So it's very you know, I, I, my, my interpretation of Yanni that sometimes came out very childlike, or
Mm,
whatever. And I just went with it. But like I say, it affects everyone differently.
yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so this is definitely a film people are going to want to watch. It
I
sounds.
I, I hope so. I hope so. I think it's look, it's the biggest audience out there. I think it's 46% of the population are baby boomers. This is definitely in that category. And but even more than that, it affects the grandchildren you see. Uh, it affects everyone, you know. And what I particularly like about this film is the love that you see between two people. Because we all know we're not going to be here forever. And in the end, it's pretty simple. Life is about love, not too much more. Certainly isn't about Bentleys or Rolexes or cruises or high fashion. It's about love. If you don't have love in your life, you got nothing. That's my, that's my, that's my, that's my motto.
That's a nice motto to have.
Yeah.
So flipping it to a bit of a lighter side, um, what are you watching right now? What do you enjoy?
I'm watching some reruns of like Entourage. I'm watching some, what's the one show? I watched a series with Hope McCallaghan called, I can't remember the name of it. I'm slipping into character. But, and then I watch a lot of TMC old movies, Like last night I was watching To Catch a Thief.
Okay.
And so I'm all over the place with it. And then my girlfriend every day, she watches at least one or two episodes of the Dick Wolf Show. What's it called?
Oh,
The show that's been on for 20 years.
is it Law and
It's such
Order?
good television. I mean, he's nobody better than do an hour episode of the Dick Wolf. It's called Jesus. Law and Order. Law and Order.
That's what I
Thank
thought.
you. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. I love Law and Order. Yeah.
yeah,
Especially the back episodes and everything. And it's branched off. Dick Wolf has branched it off. And he's
right,
also working on a few, I know he's working on a few new things. Him and his wife. I
right.
do. But
Yeah, he's got a documentary on too, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I watch a couple of documentaries. I just watched the Diane Warren documentary the other night because she's a friend and she wrote a song that's in my film.
Okay.
So it was very good, very good. I mean, she's as prolific as it gets. She's written so many hits. It's mind-boggling. Do you know who
Oh,
she is? She's been nominated 15 times for the Oscar and is number one.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, she's written for every major singer you can imagine.
That's incredible.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Okay.
Watch it. It's a good doc.
I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
Um, so kind of speaking of new and things coming up, are you work? I know you're very busy working on things, but I know you're also a writer and producer. Um, is is there
Yeah,
anything you're working on
yeah.
currently or?
I have a lifelong story I'm trying to tell called Charlie Lucky, the Real American Godfather, and it's a biopicture on Lucky Luciano, which when I was in Rome in 1982 making a studio picture called Monsignor with myself and Chris Reeve, I went to Naples and I was sitting in a restaurant and it's the next table there were a couple of fellows and they were talking about how this at one time was Luciano's restaurant. And then I overheard them say that how he had helped the American and the Allies win the Second World War in Europe with the landing in Sicily, and how the American government had went to him when he was in jail, and they went, "Our government would never do that." I was like 32 or 33 or something like that, and green as grass. And then I started to do the research on it, and I found it to be true. So I have written this movie script that has now gone from being a movie to hopefully a 4 or 6 hour streaming about Lucky Luciano and how he actually did help the Allies and how the American government did go into prison when he was in Dannemora
Okay.
for his help. A lot of people don't know the story. It's a true story.
Oh,
True
wow.
story. Yeah.
That is neat. Yeah. I definitely like hearing about the gangsters and everything. I like those biographies.
Well, I don't consider myself a mobologist, but pretty
Oh,
close.
okay.
No, I've played a lot of those characters, and they're interesting. They're interesting characters to play.
I can
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
as opposed to you know, a doctor or you know, a straight lawyer. I mean, so yeah, they're fascinating characters.
So, what advice would you give someone? Because I know in my class, right now, there are a lot of people going into film and everything. What advice would you give to someone who's branching out into that?
Here's my quote: "Prepare to be disappointed. Prepare to be disappointed, because I can guarantee you, you will be. It's listen. You have to have thick skin. It's a very difficult business, very, very difficult and very disappointing and, you know, not easy. So you have to really want it badly and the odds are against you going in, you know, depending on what it is you want. I mean, if you're looking to have a working acting career, difficult. If you're if you want to be a working writer in a writer's room or develop series or whatever your forte is, it's just difficult. So you will be disappointed, but if you love it, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of, pitfalls and everything else. So would you say it's more luck than anything?
I'm sorry. What was
Would
that?
you say it's more luck than anything?
That's a lot of luck. A lot. I'm not going to give you percentages, but it's a lot. But
I
you
can.
know what? The harder you work, the luckier you get. I've been somewhat lucky in a lot of instances, but you also have to really love what you're doing.
So was it kind of difficult for you when you were first going into acting, or
Actually, it wasn't because at I graduated college. I went into New York for a year, I worked as the associate fashion editor for GQ, and then I started going go-see. So by the time I was 27, 28, I was starring in my first lead in a movie, which has become an occult classic called The Death Collector. And it's with myself and Joe Pesci. And it's a favorite of, a lot of directors like Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino. So I was fortunate to get that, and I got me rolling from an early age. But you know, over the long haul, there's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and but I've been fortunate to eke out a little bit of a career. I'm not a household name, but I get by.
That's good. And it's good to enjoy, especially what you're doing and everything. If you've got, love for it and everything, even the pitfalls sometimes don't seem that bad. It makes you work harder.
Right.
Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
taking the time.
Yeah, and good luck with your show, and congratulations. Or when will you be getting your master's?
Hopefully, I'll be getting it in a year or so. At
Uh,
least I'm hoping. It graduate school is kind of different. It even one class is a lot of work. So you're just working a lot harder, doing a lot more research and everything else and into what you want to go into. So
well, work hard, and I'll see you at the top.
sounds good. Oh, Joe, real quick.